Well, good morning. Let me first start out by saying what a monumental day this is for the Airline Pilots Association. The upcoming ratification vote, we're not only poised to grow our union's membership by more than 4,500 pilots, we also have a chance to significantly bolster our position as the voice of airline pilots in North America. I can say without a doubt, it has been an honor and a privilege to work with the Air Canada pilots to get to this point. And with the upcoming ratification vote today, I'm proud that we are finally reaching the finish line with them, and couldn't be more excited for them to join the association. And to the rest of you, I look forward to making history with you later this morning as we take on that agenda item. As of May 1st, 2023, the Airline Pilots Association represents 69,335 pilots at 39 airlines. We have 54,446 active members, 11,521 apprentice and apprentice reactivated members. 17% of our association is in their first year at the airline. 488 members that are on military leave. We have been in the middle of a truly dynamic phase since this governing body met last September. To say that we, this administration, have hit the ground running is quite the understatement. I will echo Wendy's complaint that I too wish I could be in 3 places at once. There's just that much going on right now at the association. In addition to merger discussions with ALPA, we recently announced that the Lynx Air pilots and the Kuwaitan pilots have filed cards with the CIRB in Canada. We've negotiated and ratified significant contract gains at Alaska, Calm Air, Delta, Flair, Hawaiian, Spirit, and improved important contract extensions for our JetBlue pilots. I hope that in the next coming days and weeks, we can add WestJet to that list. Our member groups, particularly in the fee for departure and low-cost carrier categories, have experienced remarkable numbers of pilot turnovers. As I noted, 17% of our pilots are in their first year in the apprentice or apprentice reactivated categories at their airlines. There's also been an incredible number of turnover in our pilot leadership ranks. We've recently certified 98 ballots since January 1st, 98. 88 local council ballots, of which many of them included more than one position. 6 MEC ratification ballots, 2 strike ballots, with 1 closing this morning, which hopefully we'll have an update very shortly on that, and 2 executive board ballots. It is my honor to thank Amy Eno and the council support staff. They've handled this workload with graciously and with professionalism during the last 5 months. And while we celebrate the advancement of our fellow members' careers, we must also work to make sure that those seats remain filled. Please let us know as soon as possible when we should expect a vacancy in those seats so that we can act accordingly and make sure that no pilot goes unrepresented. One of the most rewarding aspects of my role as the Vice President of Administration is to be a part of ALPA's growing campaign to cultivate and empower the next generation of airline pilots. Much of this work is handled by ALPA's Professional Development Group, which is the Education Committee, the Diversity, Equity, Belonging, and Inclusion Committee, or DEBI, the Leadership Committee, and the Membership Committee. FedEx First Officer Justin DeHaan and the Education Committee continue to do incredible work, engaging and encouraging the next generation of pilots. Those are our future members. Education Committee volunteers attended this year's Women in Aviation Conference in Long Beach in February. DEBI members and Membership Committee members were also there. Together, they connected with hundreds of current and future ALPA pilots, staffed a booth, and hosted 3 panel discussions. Meanwhile, ALPA was a key sponsor for the event. Pilot volunteers also recently attended ACE Club meeting at Southern Illinois, Lewis University, and Central Washington University. I recently had the privilege and the opportunity to participate in an ACE Club meeting at Embry-Riddle, Daytona Beach, Florida. It was truly an inspiring event, talking with these young aviators about what it was like to work as an airline pilot and how those of us in attendance, all from ALPA carriers, chose or happened to fall into our current carriers. ACE Clubs are a critical part of our outreach effort, and I'm proud to have with us today 2 members of the Embry-Riddle Race Club, President Andrew Turnio and Executive Council Member Hunter Noyes. If you guys would please give them a warm welcome. They make me, I'm not the youngest person in the room anymore, so I went and I had to tell them it was nice to go and talk to them because for once I was the old guy, and it was nice. Education committee members engaged with students at university career fairs at Embry-Riddle Prescott, Louisiana Tech, Western Michigan Parks College of St. Louis University, and Purdue. In fact, the Purdue Aviation Day drew more than 10,000 students, parents, and other flying enthusiasts. ALPA was a sponsor at this year's NIFA SateCon, which wrapped up last weekend in Oshkosh. The Education Committee continues to make inroads, working to establish ALPA's education and mentoring programs at Florida Institute of Technology and Minnesota State University, Mankato. The Education Committee continues to help students overcome the financial hurdles in the pursuit of the airline pilot careers. ALPA recently opened up the window for the Costas Civilis ALPA Education Scholarship. Multiple scholarships totaling $10,000 in total are available to those involved in ALPA's professional development mentoring programs at our 13 ACE universities. We also recently awarded a $1,500 scholarship at the Manitoba Aviation Conference and Career Fair. And I'm proud to say that we fully support the recently introduced Flight Education Act of 2023, which, if enacted, would provide additional funds for federal students under Title IV to cover costs associated with flight training. I should also mention the Education Committee is working to secure space at the Denver Airport and the Ontario, California Airport to continue the success of Project Takeoff. And of course, pilot volunteers throughout the year conduct countless outreach efforts and opportunities at our primary and secondary schools. As we continue to grow our ranks and recruit new members for our airlines, we want to make sure that everyone interested in flying has a chance to succeed. The Diversity, Equity, Belonging, and Inclusion Committee endeavors to inform underrepresented communities about the career opportunities our profession offers and the pathways to achieve them. Recognizing and respecting differences while finding and embracing the ties that unite us is critical to fostering a unity that we need to be successful moving forward as a union. In February, First Officer Cami Turrieta from JetBlue spoke with the FAA's Hispanic Employment Program about FAA and tailored initiatives to minorities, including pilots. In March, she met with the FAA's International Affairs team, and members of her committee attended the two-day IF ALPA Female Pilot Working Group semi-annual meeting in Mexico City, Mexico. Throughout this period, committee representatives have worked with MECs to incorporate, to grow, and to start DEBI-related initiatives. With a large amount of member turnover and pilot leadership, Delta First Officer Mark Lockwood and the Leadership Committee have had their hands full preparing our latest round of elected reps. Working with Marie Schwartz and Simdar, the committee developed and deployed the first ever National Officer and EVP training program, something we plan to continue for future generations of national leaders. The committee hosted its annual leadership training conference in February for those preparing to take office in March, and those elected during off-cycle periods, and others who simply needed and wanted a refresher course. This year's conference offered a fresh perspective, concentrating its agenda on how to be an industrious and successful association leader and the resources to achieve those goals. Emphasis was also placed on how to effectively communicate within MECs, as well as pilot memberships, and to build unity and encourage greater engagement. The Leadership Committee also provided joint MEC officer training in April to new leaders from ATI, Breeze, Flair, Aero, and Mesa. Membership volunteers attended the National Gay Pilots Association 2023 Industry Expo in February. Later in that month, membership chair FedEx Express, Captain Candy Bernskatter, participated in the 34th Annual Women in Aviation Conference, where she led a panel on discussion of family work-life balance. She also worked with the ACE Club at the University of North Dakota and attended the IF ALPA Female Pilot Working Group semi-annual meeting. In addition, membership and education are working with the ALPA Canada Board on our planned presence at this year's Abbotsford Air Show in British Columbia, which is in August 11th through 13th. This will be the first ALPA sponsorship of any air show in Canada, and the Abbotsford Air Show is the largest of its kind north of the border. ALPA's membership committee includes furloughed pilot support and the Veteran Affairs Subcommittee. At its Executive Council meeting in April, one of the 54 agenda items we processed was confirming new Veterans Affairs Chair, FedEx Express Captain, and Tennessee Air National Guard Lieutenant Colonel Lance McQuarrie. I'd like to welcome him, but he unfortunately couldn't be here today. I also want to add that the PDG committees are planning for our return to EAA AirVenture Oshkosh this year, which is going to take place, July 24th through the 30th. We'll be in the same booth near Boeing Plaza, and for our planned activities that week, always visit our website, alpa.org/Oshkosh. Shortly, we'll be soliciting volunteers to help us staff the booth. And for the first time, we will be sponsoring AirVenture's Runway 5K on Saturday. First Officer Justin DeHaan has assured me that he will be a participant in this year's race, so you certainly don't want to miss that.
You gonna do it?
I'm also going to be running. Don't want to miss that either. I don't know if we can call what I do running, but I'll be there. We're also offering the opportunity for MECs to host dinners this year at the booth in the evenings. Information will be circulated today to send out to your MECs for those pilot groups that want to take part. By participating in these events, ALPA is engaging with industry stakeholders, reconnecting with our many members in attendance, and reaching out to the next generation of aviators. I'm committed to leveraging their resources, not only to advance our profession, but also to continue to grow trade unionism for the current and next generation of pilots. These 4 committees have massive undertakings and massive numbers of volunteers. I want to particularly thank the 4 chairs sitting with us today: Cami Terrietta, Justin DeHaan, Candy Bernstetter, and Mark Lockwood, seated in the back. Now let's take a minute to look at our ALPA IT infrastructure and what the Information Technology Advisory Committee has been up to. This group is making great progress in several areas, despite some recent challenges. As many of you know, earlier this year, we experienced several outages within our IT infrastructure. I worked with our staff very quickly to parse out the root cause of these issues. In short order, we discovered it was an issue with one of our vendors who had entered a contract with another vendor that we weren't unaware of, causing a single point of failure in our main infrastructure. In order to remedy that, and in my direction, our ALPA IT staff began replacing our server-based hardware from our QTS hosting facility to the Microsoft Azure, a cloud-based computing platform. This changeover will give us more redundancy and bandwidth and greater capacity to grow as our needs and association expand. Several years ago, we transitioned from Sitecore to our current content management system, Evoke. We have since then determined that .NET Nuke, or DNN, would be a better suit for our needs. For our way of doing business, DNN makes it easier to publish and manage content. Plus, the DNN platform gives the association the ability to rapidly expand when the need arises. This was best seen when the recent Delta tentative agreement, which was hosted on a DN platform, was able to handle the increased traffic without problem. We will also be upgrading the ALPA mobile app platform later this year, adding a geolocation feature to the ALPA's Flight Finder. With the ability to determine each user's location, we hope to develop even more capabilities for this unique JumpSeek access program. I do want to make clear, though, that any information we get from geolocation is an opt-in only feature for the mobile app. In addition to upgrading our infrastructure, we are pursuing a host of other projects to improve the end user experience. We are testing DART 2.0 right now, which will work in tandem with DTS, or Dispute Tracking System 2.0. Currently, 22 of our member groups are using DART to manage and track member questions. We will be rolling out new member profile system within the next weeks, which will allow us to view a pilot's committee work at any previous ALPA carrier. ITAC is working with our membership committee to expand ALPA's membership application to include customizable fields for each individual MEC, as well as adding new fields to electronically opt in for ALPA PAC and dues checkoff. Gathering this data from our pilots will allow us to better service their needs. Look for membership supervisor Terrence Gibbs during breaks this week to give you a demo of the new membership application. I might be a little biased, but I think it's pretty slick. We're also looking at updating the work request system our pilots have been using with purchasing for nearly 20 years. It's the system you put into to request projects from creative services and with ALPA Communications. Our purchasing needs are currently at unprecedented levels, and we are revising our branding guidelines and purchasing policies to match the realities of the marketplace. We are also working to make Pilot Communications Portal easier to manage. More and more of our MECs have been asking about ways that we can add push notifications to your members. As you likely know, our current systems are cumbersome, and Textcaster is beginning to become outdated. By the summer, we're going to be able to launch push notifications to members in more defined target areas, including specific bases, specific seats, specific councils, and if this geolocation figure is adopted in large numbers, we'll be able to target individuals within a specific geolocated area. The bottom line is we are making tangible progress on our IT front, and I want to extend my sincere thanks to the entire ITAC and the ALPA IT staff. Moving on to another important service for our members, the Pilots for Pilots has a current balance of $1,059,439.63. So far this year, we've received a little over $51,000 and have issued grants totaling $11,400. For the first time in a long time, our receipts out have been less than our receipts in. That's a great thing. P4P is in great shape, but that could change easily with the next hurricane, the next disaster that hits the United States or Canada. I'd like to thank Delta Captain Nathan Hillard and the other P4P board members in their efforts to help our pilots in need. Finally, this week, you will be presented with language to vote on to incorporate the first steps in conducting local council meetings in a virtual environment. I am confident when examining the proposed language that you will see the three-piece approach that is before you. We are able to achieve the ability to hold briefings and question and answer sessions in a fully virtual environment and have the ability to record these information sessions for members not in attendance. While we haven't yet found the solution to mitigate all of the risks associated with conducting local council and official business virtually, should this language pass, we are taking the next step to be able to host a meeting simultaneously in up to 4 locations to meet our members much closer to where they are physically and encourage more and broader member engagement. As you see behind me, we have a pretty aggressive timeline for rolling out this technology to our MECs. The first step will be later this month to communicate to our LECs the timeline of what to expect. We've been working hard to prepare what we're calling rules of engagement, which will be sent out to all LECs in July. Our target date to host the first meetings is early September. I'm sure there'll be questions, and I'll be in the delegate committee to help answer some of those, but I'm proud to deliver this to you 4 months ahead of schedule. I spoke about change in my weighing in column in the March magazine. In it, I stressed that I want to promote an organization that works for all pilots to create an environment where everybody's voice is heard and it matters. At this executive board meeting alone, there are 12 proposed changes before you to the administrative manual for your consideration. As I noted in my column, change for the sake of change serves no one, but we should continuously be looking at ways to improve existing programs and services and better streamline the way we conduct our business. The world is constantly changing, and we must change with it. It's also important to remember that whatever way we choose to proceed this week, that we do so together. Unity is our core strength, and only that way can we maximize our efforts as a trade union. We have some important decisions to make, and I look forward to making those with you this week. Thank you for listening, and it's been an honor and a privilege this first 5 months to serve as your VP admin, and should you have any questions, you guys always know where to find me. Thank you.